Every now and again, I think about myself as an author, and I ask myself, what would you have done differently about the books you've written? And I think the answer, typically, minus a few grammatical errors here and there, would be to share the books with more people. It's perhaps true that they're not the best books in the world to read, but I believe that there are thousands of people that would value the material in the books. So, in that limelight, we are going to be looking at my most recent book, which is cheap. It's almost 4 years old at this point. It's called Embracing Life, and the subtitle is A Look at Death. What I'm going to be doing is talking about some of the chapters. And the first chapter here in this short book is called Life. And I think one of the things that I see in the world, and sometimes I even notice in myself, that happens to cause me or stimulate me to feel as if life is not as good as it seems. Life has these sharp edges that bite, that sting. And then that builds and grows into a destructive, toxic worry or fear that just operates in the background of a person's life. I've noticed that happen in my own life, and I see it in other people's lives on a daily basis. So the premise of the book essentially is that if you look at death, you'll come to a deeper understanding of life. And in chapter 1, there's two main points that I'm trying to convey to the reader. And the first one is that you are immortal. You're not your body, but you, your spirit, your consciousness, that is eternal. Obviously, the body breaks down over a period of time. It grows, it decays. If you live to old age, then you notice that process of the arc from vitality to decay and to weakness. But that's not you. That's just the body. And that is something that I think millions, if not billions, of people forget. And in certain instances, I have forgotten as well, is that when you fall into the illusion that you are your body, then you set up your life accordingly. You do things that promote your body's health or wealth. And it's not even to say that you're doing things healthy for the body. I know in some instances for me that when I get stuck in that body apparatus, I will feel lonely. And if I feel lonely, then that is typically a sign for me that I am thinking physically, I am thinking separately. Because one of the other elements of this chapter is that life is connected and there is no such thing as separation. On a physical level, yes, you can see the separation between a book and a person. But in metaphysics and consciousness, that separation is not there. There's a level of connectedness. And so in that modality, when I can get out of thinking as life as just a physical pursuit and a physical journey, then I relax and start to feel the connectedness of consciousness. I start to feel and experience my immortality. It doesn't make me want to do death-defying stunts. It doesn't make me want to do anything insane. Quite the contrary, it helps me become more rational and reasonable and look at the situation as it arises. Do I need food right now? My body is actually satiated. And because I'm not stuck in that little physical perspective, I feel connected to life. Maybe I'm a single person. Maybe I'm lying in bed by myself. But that doesn't remove the sensation I have of connectivity. It doesn't remove the sensation I have of a spiritual union with something much greater and grander than myself, at least in the small terms of what self really means. So for me, these two components, realizing that you're immortal and realizing that life is connected, that there is no such thing as, just separation on the deeper levels of consciousness, it really allows me to transform negative ways of thinking, negative ways of feeling, and be my more authentic self. And this is why in this book, Embracing Life, you have to look at death. You have to face these concepts and realize that, yes, the body will more than likely eventually die, but you are not the body. And so if you can remind yourself that you are not your body, that you are consciousness, that you are pure, eternal consciousness, and you can start to develop a relationship with that and start to see yourself as that, then the trials and tribulations of life become less meaningful. They become interesting. They become things to address, things to learn from. But you have a candle within yourself, a flame that is bright and true, that can guide you in those darker moments and help you see that, no, I'm not separate. I'm connected to all life. It's the classic saying, am I a water drop or am I the ocean? Well, I'm a water drop in the ocean. And so I can have both perspectives. I can have my unique perspective here lying in bed by myself. But I also have the sensation that I am part of the ocean, that I am the ocean. And it doesn't take it to any grandiose terms. It just helps me understand the true placement of my consciousness, that I am the most valuable being that ever is. And that is true of all other beings, that there's not a hierarchy, there's an equality. And that's truly deep spiritual consciousness, when you can see the value of yourself and see it equal to anything and everything else in existence. Hinduism talks about that, Taoism talks about that, Christianity talks about that. So all the great religions agree that as you can get out of the small, narrow-minded way of thinking and start to experience life as it really is on a deeper level of consciousness, then the small tribulations and trials, again, will be meaningful, will be important to address, but they never consume you and they never overwhelm you. So my book, Embracing Life, you can find it on Amazon. You can message me on YouTube or BitChute, and I can get you in touch with a way to get the copy if you don't want to go through those modes. But I highly recommend the book, and that was our look at Chapter 1. And again, the premise of it being that you're eternal and that life is connected. So I wish you well, and look forward to your feedback, and I will talk to you later.